Security call-out to address Highlands Highway compensation claims. 60% of lay water users illegal. And Madang from tourism to industry hub.
This is National EMTV News with Tokana Hasavi.
A very good evening to you and welcome to Thursday's news. It's great to have your company. A total of 100 security personnel will be deployed along the Highlands Highway to address compensation issues. A memorandum of agreement was signed today between the Works Department, PNG Defence Force and police. Members of the disciplinary force will be stationed at 4 locations along the 800-kilometre highway to ensure that there is a smooth flow of traffic.
The agreement signed today is an extension of an existing call-out made before the 2012 national general elections. Under this agreement, police and defence officers will be deployed along the Highlands Highway to address compensation issues. Works Minister Francis Awesa, when answering a question in Parliament earlier, said the government intends to address the issue.
Compensation issues, as I've said before, which is becoming prevalent and it's becoming more entrenched in some areas. The measures that we intend to take as of have this call-out in place, and the call-out cannot be effective without some measures being taken on the ground.
Minister Awesa will present to Cabinet a proposal for funding and logistical support for security personnel to be deployed as soon as possible. The minister said currently so many unrealistic claims are sitting at Works amounting to 600 million kina, and his department needs to do proper evaluation.
600 million claims sitting there, by everybody, including these fake ones.
The involvement of the 2 disciplinary forces is not to get people arrested, but maintain peace and reinforce what the government already has in place. Both heads of the forces gave their backing and assurance for a peaceful operation. Officers will be deployed once Cabinet approves the proposal for funding and logistical support. Michelle Amba, National EMTV News.
The Morobe Provincial Works Department has written to the provincial government explaining that a bypass being constructed to avoid the troublesome Kumalu River in Mumang was done using National Roads Development Funds. The Works Department has also pointed out that the work on the pilot roads cost 8 million kina and that none of the previously allocated 14 million kina was used. This comes after mounting criticism over the delay in completing the road.
Standing is where the old town of Mumang used to be. Over there used to be the church and the school, and behind me, government houses, trade stores and villages. In 2006, the last remnants of this town were finally buried, and this place has been turned into a wasteland of rock and sand deposited every day. Now, it's unfortunate that whenever this place is in the news, it's when big businesses lose money or when somebody dies here. The Middle Watut area is prone to flooding, and in many parts the land is unstable. The road infrastructure in particular have been put under enormous strain both by the weather and by increasing traffic brought on by the economic development over 15 years. The Kumalu section in particular is troublesome. The loss of business has not been quantified, but every year millions of kina are lost due to delays caused by flooding, and there are at least 2 deaths caused by this river. But it's not just the flooding that causes problems. Opportunists looking to make a quick buck charge people for crossing. On Monday night, 2 women were raped and a man chopped by people seeking payment for a river crossing. There's already a solution for this Kumalu problem, a bypass for which a groundbreaking ceremony was done in 2013. But so far, only a pilot track has been cut by the lay-based contractor, HBS. The Provincial Works Department tells me the pilot track cost 8 million kina. No contract has yet been awarded for a bridge over the Kumalu River. The Works Department has written to the Morobe Provincial Government explaining that the funds for this construction work came from the Road Development Funds, not from the previous allocation set aside when Pulolo MP Sem Basil was planning minister in the previous government. For an all-weather road, the Works Department estimates that it could cost the government anything between 20 and 30 million kina. But for now, the roadblocks, the flooding and the delays will continue until someone in authority takes this emergency seriously and acts on it. Scott Waide, National EMTV News, Lae.
Water PNG is now appealing to illegal water consumers in Lae City to apply for legal connections to avoid water disruptions. Customer Services Manager Wallace Pingin told MTV News that more than 60% of water consumers in Lae City are illegally connected to Water PNG. He says a disconnection exercise is not the way forward for Water PNG, as they want residents to comply and pay for water consumption. MTV's Silva Sagawe has more details on this report.
Lae is a growing city and the demand for clean, treated water supply has been high in many homes and businesses. What that has been a concern for Lae's main water supplier, Water PNG, is the growing number of illegal connections to the main supply. 6 months into his job, and Customer Service Manager Wallace Pingin has been trying to liaise with communities to connect legally to Water PNG.
I would like to appeal to those who are doing this kind of illegal activities out there to come to our office, talk to us so that we can do proper water connections so that they can get that service properly in a more legal way.
In recent weeks, Lae has been experiencing a slow flow of water supply to many parts of the city. Wallace Pingin explains this was due to technical faults at one of its 6 bore pumps at Taraka, outside Lae City. Another contributing factor is the illegal connection of water pipes from the main supply, which disrupts water flow to certain areas in Lae. The high number of illegal connections means water pressure and supply will be low in many communities.
We have a social responsibility as well as commercial responsibility, so that is why I'm appealing to the customers to come to us and we will connect water properly so that we don't go to that extent of cutting water main off and it's going to bring, because we don't want to go to that part as yet.
Water PNG's community obligation is to provide clean, fresh supply of water to its consumers. All it wants from Lae residents is to register and pay up for water services so that it will sustain the supply of clean, treated water for the consumers. Sylvester Gawi, National EMTV News, Lae.
Madang town, a tourism attraction in PNG, is also trying to establish itself as an industrial hub. While tourist ships are continuing to visit the coastal town, efforts are now underway for large industrial projects to become a part of the town's economy. Madang's Provincial Administrator, Daniel Alloy, spoke to MTV News about the progress of these plans.
The Pacific Marine Industrial Zone is one such project the province is looking to boost its internal revenue. The project has had a hard time becoming a reality, largely due to customary groups who claim ownership over the proposed site. However, Mr. Alloy is confident things will soon get off the ground, with construction to begin in April.
No, that is being done. We've sorted that out, We are not talking to reach a consensus. The decision has been made.
Madang province is also part of the country's plan to open up economic corridors. According to Mr. Alloy, discussions are underway with an American fruit company to establish a plantation in the Ramu area.
The world's biggest fruit-producing company, and that is about to, plant out hectares of pineapple and other fruits in Ramu Valley. And then the provincial government itself has declared that, we have to, open up the Ramu, what we call the Ramu economic corridor.
The province is also waiting for the Ramu Nickel mine to reach commercial export stage.
I don't have any reservations in saying this. We need to have that very clear so that we know when. Because the moment that is not clarified and all sorts of innuendos and suspicions come out, we don't want that. That's not healthy for a business trust.
In the midst of all this industrial hype, tourist ships continue to visit the province. Madang is famous for its coastlines, war memorials and strong cultures. However, there are challenges that the province needs to deal with.
Madang, tourism has been really the strength of Madang for many, many years, and it is still the strength of Madang. They will restore the the province as the lead province in tourism. There's so much to be done with, as I'm speaking, issues relating to law and order that hasn't been that friendly to us.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Lands and Physical Planning Minister Benny Allen today launched the Affordable Land and Housing Project in Port Moresby. The program aims to address the chronic issue of land and housing problems faced every day. Its first project site is at Gerahu in Port Moresby, where houses are completed and ready for titles to be given out.
The Affordable Land and Housing Program aims to assist all citizens to own a house, regardless of how much they earned. It will ensure that unused state land is available to everyone at an affordable price. Undeveloped state land will also be identified and made available to ordinary citizens to build affordable houses.
But the government has tasked the department to identify UDLs, undeveloped UDLs, and the department is in the process taking stock of that. And once we identify undeveloped UDLs, we will forfeit them and then make them available for housing projects like this.
Minister Allen says that with the new program, prices of the houses will be reduced. Land portions are made available at Gerahu Stage 3B. Houses are already being built, and the next stage is to issue titles to interested citizens. Through this program, more settlements will be transformed to suburbs. To build new houses and do land surveying, a new surveying equipment was launched today by Minister Allen and Able. It will survey the allocated land by taking its aerial views to ensure time is not wasted and also give accurate figures. It will also detect which areas the land compensation is issued to make work easier.
Now through Lands, asked the Lands Department to earmark certain specific parcels of land through the UDL process or land that's already available. This is alienated land, to make it available to us to feed into this program.
The government aims to build 40,000 houses by 2017 under this program. However, this can be achieved if the program is extended down to districts and other provinces. 4 pilot provinces are NCD, Morobe, East New Britain and Western Highlands Province. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
And ahead on National EMTV News tonight, the central bank implements a new payment system and more on the high cost of living in the city. Stay tuned for that and more. Good to have you back with National EMTV News. The Bank of Papua New Guinea has placed PNG against some of the world's best economies with the successful implementation of a national payment system. The Kina Automated Transfer System, otherwise known as CUTS, is classified as world-class standard and timely for financial transactions amongst commercial banks and BPNG.
CATS, although a totally new financial transfer method in our banking system, it has already received positive comments from commercial banks and other financial institutions. This system allows automatic transfer of money from one bank account to another. It is a safer way of transferring large sums of money and can be used by government bodies, business houses and individuals.
Well, the CAT system is really a computer system that sits between the banks. So it allows all banks to submit payments into the central system, which then sorts them and sends them back out to the right bank.
The idea was initiated by BPNG Governor Loy Bakani in 2011 to create an efficient system that will reduce cost of transactions and improve efficiency in the payment system. It took 3 years before Bakani's vision became a reality with the new system launched today. The system itself marks a significant achievement for BPNG and the business sector in PNG.
What's the use of getting more people banked, having bank accounts, when you have a very outdated payment system? So those are kind of things that that's why we increase our determination to have the payment system, so that those people, once they get banked, they also benefit from the fast and efficiency of the new and modern payment system.
Key elements of CATS include speed and certainty of payments. It was also designed to reduce fraud and systematic risks, something most banks have been trying to minimize.
CATS will support new developments such as mobile payments in rural areas, and check processing will be faster and more accurate, taking 1 to 2 days to clear. CATS will be an ongoing project, and commercial banks will be playing the role of widening its usage across the country. Tekla Gunga, National EMTV News.
The wives of Lay's middle-income earners say they have to sell black market goods to help their husband pay for expensive goods and services, including rent. It comes after calls were made in Parliament last week by Oro Governor Gary Jufa to reduce the threshold of income tax at 35% to 20%. Papua New Guinean mothers say their husband's salary cannot cater for school fees and bills, including housing rent. EMTV's Bethany Harriman spoke to some Lay mothers today.
This road runs through the East Taraka area outside of Lay City's outskirts. Here, Papua New Guinean mothers line up their market stalls to sell buai and black market goods. They set up markets because they want to help their husbands pay for the bills. Rennie Palmela Silas lives in the area with her husband and 6 children. They moved out here because of cheaper accommodation. But the present income tax deducted from her husband's salary means she has to start her own market to supplement what her husband brings home. Rennie's situation is like many other Papua New Guinean mothers around the country.
Countryside lo, painim rent mi cheap lo, mi pla can afford lo, living lo pla. At least mi pla compla 10 profit or 20 profit. Mi pla so to pla.
Lindy Walkomi and her family are part of a group of Papua New Guinean families who have ventured into business. Her family owns this trade store. The tax on goods she buys means she has to charge a higher markup for every item sold in her trade store. Added to her family's problems is the bank loan that needs to be paid back with interest. For other families along this road, both mother and father don't work, and the family survives on the small market outside. Betty Vincent is cooking kebabs and sausages in front of her home to sell to motorists and pedestrians. She explains the impact of tax on the food that she buys to cook and sell.
42 kina and 50 plus tap inside him. So I'm hard me price him go 150, 130, 140. So me come down one kina flat. So I'm hard me working profit to him.
The plea of Papua New Guineans for tax reviews was echoed in Parliament by Oro Governor Gary Jufa last week Wednesday. He queried for a reduction in tax and for the Tax Review Committee to present their report to Cabinet.
Some advisor in that organization refused to entertain that submission and has said that it is not necessary. My questions are, could you please find out if that is the case and inform us? This is an opportunity for us to reduce taxes for Papua New Guineans who are feeling the pinch.
Like every other Papua New Guinean around the country, the mothers say they are feeling the pinch of the high cost of living. Bethany Harriman, National EMTV News, Lay.
Sports Minister Justin Chichenko has fired back at comments made by East Sepik Governor Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare in Parliament yesterday. Sir Michael was critical on the construction of the Games venues and questioned whether the venues will be completed on time. The minister today blamed the Somare government for not improving the facilities after winning the bid to host the Games. EMTV's Jeremy Mogi with more on this report.
East Sepik Governor Grand Chief Sir Michael Somare criticized Sports Minister Honorable Justin Chichenko over what he deemed the delays in the construction and completion of venues for the Pacific Games. The issues had been raised earlier by Usino Bundi member Anton Yagama. However, Sir Michael had felt that given the time frame available, time was running out.
Good plan will clarify me plan member by Sabe. Yes, true by come up. Yes, you talk by come up on July. Me plan get a like him by come up on July. We want to promote and support you. But contract you play give him yeah. We play local sem
Mabayumi no naplong finishing in time. Also na, mi album long supplementary question.
Mr. Chichenko hit back while out at Pari village outside Port Moresby, claiming that during the reign of the Somare government, little was done to prepare for the games.
So really at the end of the day, he needs to look at what he did to assist us, which was nothing. The O'Neill government has made the move and has put their money where their mouth is and ensured that the games will be ready on July 4th for our Pacific nation.
Minister for National Planning Charles Abel, however, claimed that the government was fully supportive of the Minister for Sports. He spoke at a news conference this afternoon.
I think just in defence of the Sports Minister, he has stated unequivocally, he couldn't put it any clearer, that he's confident, as indeed the government is confident, that we'll deliver these games, the best games ever. And I've inspected the sites myself, and I remain completely confident that they'll get delivered. They're funded, the contractors are working, some of them throughout the night, and we are determined.
The minister is adamant, however, that the venues will still be used to host games and has urged all stakeholders to work together, stating that sport is a tool for nation building. He's also urged that all negative comments be undone and to work together to overcome these difficulties. Jeremy Moggy, National EMTV News.
Barrick Gold Corporation has announced it is undergoing a process to sell off its subsidiary, Barrick New Guinea Limited. Now, Barrick New Guinea Limited holds 95% interest in the Porgera joint venture operating in Enga province. The company said the proceeds of any sale would be used to reduce debt.
In a statement released this afternoon, Barrick Gold Corporation confirmed it is pursuing the sale of Barrick New Guinea Limited, including Porgera. Executive General Manager of Barrick New Guinea Limited, Greg Walker, said the industry was facing challenging times. He said gold mining companies worldwide were experiencing low gold prices and are feeling the pinch of company debts. Mr. Walker said in response to these challenges, the company has implemented a strategy to get rid of the mines and properties that are not best suited to the new strategic direction of Barrick Gold Corporation. Therefore, the company said the proceeds from the sale of Barrick New Guinea Limited, including Porgera, would be used to reduce debt as the company refocuses on its core assets in the Americas. Delhi Bagu, National EMTV News.
Bank of Papua New Guinea Governor Loy Bakani clarified that PNG has a floating exchange rate. His comments follow concerns raised by businesses on the fluctuation of PNG kina against foreign currency. Bakani said though the 2015 budget reflects a deficit, it will not have a direct impact on the kina value.
Last week, a number of concerns were raised by parliamentarians on Papua New Guinea's foreign reserve currency. It was debated whether or not PNG had enough reserves in the central bank. This morning, BPNG Governor Loy Bakani explained that the concept was misunderstood by both parliamentarians and the public. Bakani said PNG has been using a fixed exchange rate against US dollars since independence. However, when the ruling government of 1992 to 1997 took power, PNG recorded a budget deficit. It was decided by the then Chen government to change the exchange rate from fixed to floating.
The exchange rate affects, for example, the contractors. If they're importing a lot of these things, then obviously it will increase their cost because the kina depreciating, it increases the kina value of those imports. Those contractors, if they import those steel and those machines, then obviously it will increase the cost.
However, the PNG kina is still depreciating. The current exchange rate is now at 0.3795 against US dollars, recording a depreciation of 0.335 toya, while the inflation rate remains at 5% since 2014.
So commitments already from as high as PM saying they will monitor it, closely monitor, and prioritize the expenditures for this year, based on those very key priority areas.
BPNG will now be advising the government to prioritize its spending when necessary in the hope of minimizing deficit. Teklegunga, National EMTV News.
And now we take a look at the finance news. The kina closed unchanged at $0.3785 US in the interbank market, and at Bank South Pacific, your kina was fetching $0.371 US, $0.4717 Australian dollars, $0.3223 euro, and 43.63 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, gold and cocoa closed higher, coffee closed lower, and copper closed the day unchanged. Meanwhile, palm oil and crude oil closed lower, and copper closed the day higher. Lastly, on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed at 18 points lower, the ASX closed at 11 points lower, and the All Ordinaries closed at 8 points lower. Among more stories coming up after the break, the challenges of dealing with family planning. Stay with us. Thanks for your company and welcome back to the news. Madang's Provincial Police Commander, Sylvester Kalaut, says there are about 60 fugitives still at large after escaping custody. Mr. Kalaut's remarks follow the 4 men who escaped on Monday from the Jumbo police station but who were later recaptured the same day. It also comes off the back of 3 past escapes in the last year. Mr. Kalaut explained the same reasons that he has continually trumpeted: insufficient manpower, rundown jail cells and weak security systems. The Madang PPC urges the public to give information to police on the whereabouts of the 60 escapees. In the meantime, Mr. Kalaut says his men have prepared security operations for more than 2,000 tourists on board the MV Dawn, which arrived in Madang this morning. Family planning is said to be the most cost-effective way of reducing maternal mortality rates in Papua New Guinea. It forms the key strategy of the National Department of Health in improving maternal health care and reducing the number of women dying from pregnancy-related causes. While communities in PNG generally agree with this, the practicality of rolling out family planning programs in rural and semi-rural areas needs more fine-tuning.
Tokain is located about an hour's drive outside of Madang town along the North Coast Road. It is part of the Sumkar district. During MTV's visit of the community, we found out about the challenges that the community faces while dealing with maternal health care, especially the use of family planning.
Now, nupla chila method em come inside, nupla saw em come inside, em get bigla bread.
Mama Liu Kangoi is the community health worker stationed at the Tokain aid post.
Na no got good awareness to em regime all areas we all stop backside, all place we all stop long way, no got there.
According to Tokain's ward council member Cornelis Banas, there was an attempt by NGO Mari Stops to provide family planning advice and especially implants to the community. But at the time, this was rejected by the community.
Only come to Solna, walk one time, talk one time, CHW Blumi plan. Only come, all mama come long, only Simna, all gonna talk sa all mama yetna, all walk lo come, no walk one time all. In plenty more raba, honest and go long all na. Bien all without good awareness kind of them, talk sabe.
The Tokain community has a history of discussing new ideas and concepts that are being introduced into their community. This community protocol was not followed. Mr. Banas says the community understands the need for family planning and sees its values.
Problem in ground, also na mi plan mas get this plus sabe come inside. Talk mas come up good na. When I'm can road only you sim, or sabe man do you sim na make him something come up ya. And must come up.
Mr. Kangoi says the biggest challenge he has is a lack of sufficient support to conduct awareness.
But now yet them no got good support, no got good kind of especially funding. Stop straight away and I'm carry him out patrol.
Tokain comes under the government health center at Bunabun. Isapin Kaisum is a nurse at the health center.
Implant all like him, all mama like him, I did too like him, but especially all Catholic churches plenty of law against him now. All dispute him all setting thing all mama law comes him implant now.
As a community, Tokain has a strong Catholic faith, and the Catholic Church has been discussing family planning methods with the community.
Catholic Church is our running when we have family planning too. When always method or work you see na talk.
Mr. Banas feels that there is room for both the Catholic teachings and the new methods that are being introduced. The work plan for the aid post for this year has room for awareness, and the community has started building an antenatal center next to the aid post to assist with this work.
Osem na mipla building la house, mipla like one female officer, and the staff lawyer, but deal want them family planning alone.
While the new methods of family planning are finding their way slowly into the community, some still hold on to the practical and old ways of dealing with the issue.
People can space him stop long way and 1 plus something. People can stop long way and space him pikini.
Sarah Aupong, National EMTV News.
Non-government organizations partnering the government to implement the new population policy are hopeful for the outcomes. Murray Stopes PNG, one of the leading NGOs that provides sexual and reproductive health care in the country, said the policy will allow the country to be able to manage the infrastructure and social challenges that our growing population faces.
In supporting the government's policy, Murray Stopes Country Director Martin van der Rip says it will benefit the young and will see many complete their education. He said couples will plan proper financial futures and communities will also be able to plan their land.
Family planning contributes to the achievement of the population policy's goals of helping to improve maternal health and reducing the under 5 and infant mortality rates, as well as improving access to education.
In 2014, government launched a responsible sustainable development strategy. As part of the strategy, Murray Stopes will be involved in providing quality, voluntary family planning services to 20,000 clients in 7 provinces of PNG. On record, most girls aged 13 and 14 are sexually active in PNG and fall pregnant. Murray Stopes ensures that young girls and mothers receive proper information on family planning, sexual reproductive health, and diseases women face.
With Murray Stopes, we try to empower women to ensure they have reproductive goals. So when we talk about reproductive goals, is that every woman or woman of reproductive age should know how many children she wants to have and should be able to have the information to ensure that she has the number of years spaced in between each child.
Now, with the establishment of Murray Stopes in 7 provinces in PNG, more young people are coming forward to get information on sexually transmitted infections. This means that young people are becoming aware of their sexual needs and puts them on the right path to minimize STI cases and unwanted pregnancies. Dr. Edith says it is important for women to get proper advice, so it helps in minimizing the maternal mortality rate in PNG.
This issue of population and responsibility, looking after our children, looking after our daughters, empowering women, I'm just so pleased at how it's now elevated significantly in our public psyche. It wasn't so long ago that these things were simply not spoken about. They were sort of taboo subjects. Let's not talk about babies and contraception and sex.
With the launch of the National Population Policy yesterday, the government is confident it will manage population growth. Vasinata Yama, National EMTV News.
Milne Bay is seeing an expansion in its legal sector. Recently, the provincial government handed over keys of 2 new staff houses to the public prosecutor and the solicitor's office. A courthouse was established in Alatau and refurbishments made to buildings of both legal agencies. The legal expansion service will act as a bridge between the local and national justice systems. The refurbishment exercise costs over 720,000 kina and was evenly funded by the provincial government and the Australian government. The Morabit University Centre in Lae has confirmed that the number of students enrolled this year has increased. The Uni Centre's director, Richard Kotson, meanwhile says the institution is facing a shortage of resources to cater for the increased enrolment this year. Mr. Kotson's comments come following concerns raised by Higher Education Minister Malakai Tabar, who wants to develop more university centres in the country.
At the Morabit PNG University Centre, at least 500 students have enrolled to do matriculation this year. Most of them are grade 10 and 12 school leavers. This gives an indication of an increase in the number of school leavers who completed grade 8, 10 and 12 without securing a space in high schools and tertiary institutions. The blame has been leveled against various reasons, including poor academic performances by the students. But while the centre aims to recoup students into the formal education system, it has a backlog of outstanding issues to deal with. Acting Director for the Uni Centre, Richard Kotson, says the resources they have to cater for the needs of this large number of intake is limited.
It is really a big number compared to other areas, other years down the line. So I see that the number will continue to increase in the second semester and probably next year.
In 2013, the government came up with the concept of establishing Open University Learning Center to cater to this increasing number of school leavers. But over the last 3 years, the number of students enrolled has increased, while the infrastructure development hasn't changed much.
We have a resource. I would say that the current 3 tutorial rooms, as per the data of today, we would have limited. The spaces are limited.
Earlier this month, the Higher Education Minister, Malakai Tabar, announced the government's plan to establish more open uni centers to cater to this growing number of dropouts.
Increase intake, it means the institution must be given additional funding.
But the move may not happen too soon, as the proposed plan that has been brought before Cabinet have no funds allocated to support it, the minister says. Edwin Fidelis, National EMTV News, Ley.
Australian NRL sports ambassador and former North Queensland cowboy Brent Tate officiated at the opening ceremony of Anitua Limited today. Anitua Limited sells housing equipment like paints and other handyman tools, including water bottles. While endorsing the company, the former Kangaroo Centre is also encouraging fans to promote rugby league in the country.
The former North Queensland cowboy officiated at the company's 20 years of dedicated services to the people of PNG. Other guests include Anitua General Manager John Vincent, Luxury Exports GM Luke Jackson, and employees of Anitua Limited from its Ley and Port Moresby branches.
It's a Queensland product, family owned, and it's obviously, branching out and coming up to PNG with a hope to one day be produced up here.
In the 6 Mile outlet today, a number of products are showcased, ranging from construction items to varieties of good supplies. This event was a milestone for the company's success in delivering its products and services to the people. Brent Tate was excited to be in the country as a sport ambassador officiating at this event.
Just opened up in Port Moresby. We opened in Ley a few months ago, and we're combining with luxury paints because they offer a really good product, a superior product, and it suits the PNG environment.
The company also empowers women in the country to take up responsibility that was once held by men. It is now aiming to build women capacity of up to 100 employees to its Port Moresby and Ley-based outlets.
Of goods, timbers and paints and plumbing, etc., to people who are building houses, and that's especially so in Port Moresby. There seems to be a housing boom.
Meanwhile, it will continue to roll out its service delivery around the country through its products and services, especially those in the rural areas. Eric Arupma, National EMTV News.
And National EMTV News continues with Trukai Sports. That's coming up next, and we'll have news on the National Soccer League and cricket. Stay with us.
Trukai Sports.
Welcome to Trukai Sports. A classy Hekari United bounced back from a scoreless draw with Admiralty FC last weekend after edging out Oro FC at the Telecom National Soccer League washout match at Bomana yesterday. Hekari came back from a blunder on Sunday to end Oro's hopes of making the top of the ladder with a 1-0 win.
Hekari United came back from last weekend's draw with Admiralty FC, beating Oro FC 1-0 in a washout match at Bomana. Oro went into the game to prove their critics wrong. Both teams contested for the ball with fair chances of scoring goals. Hekari strikers led the attack with Tanito Tutizama and Tommy Semi. The match between the Hekari Uniteds and Oro FC was a tough match, seeing both teams testing each other's defense. The Reds with their 1-2 touches proving a struggle for Oro to match. Oro managed to keep the fiery Hekari side scoreless in the first half.
For us, we have a lot of chances both sides, first and second half. We didn't complete it. To me, I felt that our forward boys need to work harder, especially preparing for our OFC Championship in Fiji. We need a lot of work up front.
In the second half, Hekari came back firing, with multiple shots fired at Oro goalkeeper, and just within minutes, striker Tommy Semi capitalizing on a confused Oro defense, put Hekari in front.
It was really hard game today. We got chances, but we couldn't put them away. But I think both teams played really hard today. Only we got our chances and we put it away. And Oro have their chance, but they never put their chance away.
A foul play in the box by Oro gave Hekari a chance to put the Reds out of sight. But Oro's instrumental goalkeeper, Enoch Maniwolo, says otherwise. Oro replied with numerous attacks but failed to convert them into points. With a nail-biting performance by both teams, keeping the local crowd on their feet. However, Hekari came out victorious, but Oro really gave them a run for their money. Shane Saroya, National EMTV Sports.
Over to cricket, and the PNG government have been undertaking an intensive 4 days per week training regime since September last year. The team is in preparation for the Under-19 World Cup qualifying tournament later this year. They are looking forward to qualifying for the World Cup to represent Papua New Guinea for the 8th time and are very confident as a team to bring back positive results. MTV's Elijah Levitt with this report.
The team has been in training and improving in their batting, bowling and fielding skills and full fitness through the use of a gym. They're training at a mini park, which is slightly different from the training conditions at the local clubs, and it is proving to be both challenging and motivating. The Under-19 Garamuts have been committed and are on track to winning the tournament for the country. The team left for Auckland, New Zealand for 3 days of intensive pre-tournaments and trial matches before they head for the ICC EAP Under-19 Trophy in Blenheim, New Zealand. The ICC East Asia Pacific Under-19 Trophy includes 4 teams from the region including PNG, Samoa, Fiji and Vanuatu. The winner of this tournament will automatically earn a spot in the 2016 ICC Under-19 Cricket World Cup in Bangladesh. The team that comes second will go through to the World Cup qualifiers. Elijah Lavette, National EMTV Sports.
And stay tuned, True Guy Sports continues after the break.
True Guy Sports.
Good to have you back with True Guy Sports. There have been many questions raised in this Parliament sitting on the completion of the Pacific Games venues. Minister for Sports and National Events, Justin Chichenko, clarified the proceedings on the ongoing construction, in particular the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium. He urged the nation to work together and restore confidence in each other. MTV's Lorraine Genia with this report.
Papers like to put outstanding and controversial headlines to sell papers.
According to Minister Chichenko, the current status and the construction of venues have been misreported by the media. In response to comments made on the construction of the Games venues, Chichenko clarified that the stages of construction is for the Sir Hubert Murray Stadium alone. The first stage of construction will see the stadium being built for rugby union and rugby league, while the second stage features other elements of the sports facility, which will be able to stage other sporting events like weightlifting.
The stages I was referring to were Hubert Murray Stadium. The second stage of Hubert Murray Stadium will be completed by the end of the year, towards 2016, which will be the major stadium hosting weightlifting and many other facilities.
While the venues remain a concern for many, Chichenko says the Games will go ahead as planned for the 4th of July, as deferring the Games is not an option and not a situation at hand.
We will never ever defer the Games. The Games are on July 4th, 2015. And we look forward to all the Pacific Island countries coming to Port Moresby for the Pacific Games.
Lorraine Genia, National EMTV Sports.
Judo has not been included as one of the 28 sports to be played at the 13th Pacific Games here in Port Moresby. However, PNG Judo athletes are preparing to qualify for the 2016 Rio Olympics Games. This year will see them compete in a number of events under the International Judo Federation in the lead-up to the Rio Games. The PNG Judo Federation is also planning to bring in an International Judo Federation education official to the country in May to assess where Judo PNG is and how best the world's body can assist the country. The Fiji cricket team recently announced their withdrawal from the Pacific Games this year, as one of the reasons being they will be looking at playing in the World Cricket League. However, Sports Minister Justin Chichenko said their withdrawal from the Games is unacceptable.
Fijians have pulled out from the cricket is very, very clear. It's not because of them going to the ICC competition. It's because they will not be able to beat Papua New Guinea, because we're just too good. Papua New Guinea is ranked 16th in the world. I think Fiji is about 40th. They've decided Pacific Games is not important to them, which I think is a disgrace, and their excuse is just rubbish.
And that wraps up True Kai Sports tonight. The weather details coming up next.
True Kai Sports.